Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy Hodges and I realized what's going on here. I'm in, I'm in the Bahamas and I got a little irresponsible yesterday with sun and not putting on tanning lotion, so it looks really weird. I put tan lotion right here and didn't put it anywhere else, so I'm burnt to a crisp. Look, I'll show you. This is where I'm at. There's the Bahamas. But I wanted to come on here today. That's so distracting. I'm gonna put this on. I'm Chrissy. I am an advocate for OCD. I'm the author of Pure OCD, and I do peer support all over the world and referral consultations for individuals working toward recovery. And today I wanted to share a really, really personal video with you, and I'll do that. First, NoCD. NoCD is an app. They have all kinds of resources and ways to connect to people with OCD inside the app. And they also do telehealth. So go check them out at treatmyocd.com. And again, I'm sorry about my hair. I made it, I decided not to wear hairspray at all for 7 days straight. My hair is probably like, thank goodness. Give us a break. But I wanted to share a little bit about my experience here and getting here, and how things changed for me once I actually got here. So y'all know I share a lot with you about OCD and about the real journey of recovery, right? And what I haven't shared with you is that I have just been struggling so bad these last couple months. I mean, not with OCD though, with anxiety. So this is a different beast. I mean, OCD is an anxiety disorder, but I've been struggling with anxiety, and it's impacting my central nervous system, so physically, and then of course OCD latches onto the physical part. So it's almost like I have two parts and two layers, and I have been implementing. I am in therapy, which is great, and that's helping. But I've been implementing strategy after strategy to get this physical stuff under control. And when I say physical, and I'm sure you know what I mean, just pain in my body everywhere because I just hold things. I'm in fight and flight almost the majority of the time. I even wake up in fight and flight. I can feel it, which then activates, everything else in the nervous system. My face is broken out with psoriasis, my arms, and I'm having hormonal issues, and I'm just overall really at a loss of how to get this fucking anxiety under control to the point where it's not impacting me physically, which then impacts my OCD. And I'll talk about that in another video. I really want to talk more about how when OCD latches onto physical and real things. But I wanted to share with you kind of what happened before I got here. So traveling can be really difficult for people with anxiety and OCD. We don't talk about this often, right? Because we always think about travel as, oh, you're going somewhere, don't bitch and complain. You get to go, get over it. But it can be hard. It can be hard because you don't have a routine, you don't know where you're going, you know what's going to go wrong. If you have emetophobia, it's all the barfing. Am I going to barf? Where am I going to eat? Things like that. And so I'm here alone. So I travel, and I typically travel alone, so it's not that big of a deal, but I usually travel for work. So whenever I go somewhere, I have something to do. I have something to plan, or it's on my shoulders, so it's like brain can focus on that. This is not what's happening this week. This is a 7-day trip, and I have a little bit of work for grad school, but that's it. And so leading up to it, I felt like I was getting a little bit better in my anxiety. It was feeling like a little more managed up and down. So I thought, we're going to be cool. This is going to be cool. It was not cool. So when I left, I stayed at a hotel in Denver because I flew out of Denver. I think I felt okay the night before. And I woke up the next morning and I could not breathe. I mean, it was overwhelming anxiety to the point where I thought, fuck, what am I gonna do? I can't go. I need to go to a hospital. I need to, it was that panic, and it was immediately the moment my eyes opened. And I had 2 flights that day. out of the country. And I came this close to getting in my car and going home. This close. Like, took all my stuff down to the car and stood in front of my Honda, and I was just like, just go. Like, we'll just spend the whole week at home, and you'll rest and you'll watch TV. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And I had to have this, basically what I did was I was like, Chrissy, you've got to create steps. Because step one, put the stuff in your car, because I had to catch the shuttle. Put the stuff in your car and get back up to the room. Step one, put the stuff in the car that wasn't going to go on the trip with me, get back up to the room. Step two, give yourself a pep talk in the mirror. I needed to see my face, right? I needed to see my eyes, and I needed to basically be like, contingency plan is we go, you get back on the plane and come home if it's too bad. Okay, contingency plan, no big deal. And so I had a plan, but the next step was get your stuff, get on the shuttle. We'll decide when we get to the airport if we're going to get on the plane. And then we'll decide when we get to Atlanta if we're going to get on the plane and go to the Bahamas. So every single step of the way, I had a plan on what to do and an alternative plan just in case. I can get back on a flight from Atlanta to Colorado if I want. I can get back on a flight from Bahamas back. So this isn't like, don't make the mistake of thinking that I was like, okay, I'm trying to find a way out. This was just let's talk rationally to the part of the brain right now that cannot think rationally, okay? So I needed a behavioral plan, okay? This is what we're gonna do. And if this doesn't happen, then we'll try this. And if that doesn't happen, we'll try that. But I really just drove home to myself, Chrissy, it doesn't matter how you're feeling. You can take small steps to move towards the next step and just keep going. Now, I'm also going to share with you that I don't even know what the anxiety was about. I mean, there are things I just don't want to talk about that have been providing anxiety to me, but I couldn't pinpoint, like, am I scared of throwing up? Am I scared of the plane crashing? Am I scared? None of that. There was none of that. It was just this overwhelming physical CNS, central nervous system anxiety that wouldn't stop. And that's what was so scary. I felt like if I could pinpoint it and do ERP, we'd be good. I couldn't. So this is what I did. Got to the airport and I just said to myself, okay, who is your most authentic self? Who is the Chrissy that gets buried under everything else sometimes, that you forget about, that you're scared to show? Vulnerability is my biggest fear, right? I mean, I've been learning how to push in vulnerability, especially this last year, but who do you need to show up today to get you through everything? And that person is the one that sometimes gets buried under the expectations of other people, that sometimes gets buried because she's scared, that sometimes gets buried because she thinks I should be different, I think I should be different, or that if I am myself, then people will reject me. Biggest fear, right? Rejection. And she showed up. And that person is, I need to connect to human beings. And I know a lot of people don't need to connect to human beings, and that might not be the authentic part of who you are, but that is who I am. Because human interaction reminds me that I am alive, and that the person next to me is also a human being, and that there's nothing to be afraid of. And so that's what I did. I talked my way through each airport, talked my way through each plane ride with whoever was sitting next to me. They didn't seem to care. And then when I got to the Bahamas, I did the same thing. I was just like, this entire trip is going to be authentic Chrissy showing up. If I get rejected or if no one wants to talk to me, fine, but I'm going to keep showing up. And I want to share with you this. You cannot go wrong when you find that authentic part of you inside of you. It's freedom and showing that person to the world. with no judgment and no worry about any sort of repercussions. Authentic Chrissy has lost people in her life, sometimes just by being who she is. At the end of the day, okay, those were not my people. Those are not the people that I need to connect to be able to continue on and be the person that experiences freedom and love and connection, which is the most important thing to me. And I've always known that. In a lot of ways, I've denied that, especially in the last few years. And being in a marriage that just did not really allow that, or I buried that part of who I was in the last year of just being caught up in anxiety and being sad at times, trying to get my life back together. But I think I made this breakthrough, and this is what I wanted to share with you. I came to this country where I don't know anybody, and I was terrified. I almost didn't get here. And in just showing up as who I am and connecting with human beings, you forget people want connection. If you're an introvert, you may be like, no, we don't. But you want people to see you. You want people to make you feel like you belong or are important. And I decided that that's what I was going to do, was going to celebrate the people around me and give an opportunity to chat if they want or not. Some people do and some people don't. And I've met so many people while I'm here. And it has been phenomenal. Thank goodness I stared in that mirror and forced myself to come, because avoidance felt so much easier. But I have met so many locals and have gone to all these cool places and done all these cool things that you don't do on tours and stuff like that. And I've met tourists, and I feel more connected now than I have, and I can't explain how long. And you know why? Because I just had to figure out and find that person that was inside of me. What brings me to life? What gives me freedom? She was just so stuck and was gone for a long time. But now I feel like I've brought that back to life. So my message to you is this. Literally 3 days ago, I was at the depth of this is some of the worst anxiety I've ever experienced recently, to where I was almost paralyzed and could not move. And that turned around for me in a few hours. Just by remembering, okay, are you ready? Just by remembering this. Your authentic self matters. Whoever that is for you, whatever you've been through, whatever you live with, you matter. Connection to other human beings matters. We are all wired to be connected, no matter what you have been through. We're wired to connect. And that is when joy happens. That is when freedom happens. And that's when you really just do start to see beyond anything you've ever been through, whether it's traumatic, whatever situation you're in now, OCD, mental ill health, whatever. You see beyond that, and you really find out that you are part of something bigger. And there are people out there that will flock to your energy. You just got to find it and embrace it. So my message today is a little less about OCD and more just about what it is like to be in the position that we get in sometimes, completely stuck, and how I pushed those barriers and kind of found that part of me that I've missed for so long. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense wherever you are in your journey. If you've ever experienced this, or even moving forward, if you ever get to that place, think about me and think about how I was able to turn that around no matter how scared I was. And if I can do it, you can do it. I also want you to know that you matter, and I'm so glad that we are connected. I'm so glad that you're here. And never forget that connection, human connection, is so powerful and it's so healing. And people want to connect to your soul and your spirit, because you are fucking awesome. So I'll see you next week when I'm back in Colorado. I hope to heal from the sunburn. It's so awful. But I hope to continue to keep having a great time and being my authentic self and meeting people from all over. So what brings you alive? What brings you back to life? Find that inside of you and never, never hide it from the world, because the world is waiting for you. And I will see you next week. Sending all my love.